Welcome. This would be the time to go get your notebook. So if you don't have it on hand, go grab it. You can pause the video right now, and then when you have it, you're going to open up to the next clean page. So we are going to be talking about today how to write an equation in standard form. So the first thing I'm going to do is basically try to get a little fancy with it. So standard form, yours can look cooler than mine. So standard form. And what you need to know about standard form, it could also be known as, so AKA, how to graph, or we could say graphing from the intercepts. So just take a moment to think about, where do we see intercepts on a graph, right? So intercepts, we'll just box that word. So think about a line, right? And it's crossing the axis. Where are you going to see the intercepts? So this is actually really useful. It's really helpful to graph from the intercepts because they're just very easy to see. It's really clean math. So before we get started, I'm just going to make a note. So the x-intercept is where we see a number and then 0, okay? So we have an x value, some kind of number here, and then there is no output, there is no y. So x-intercept, we see something here. Whereas a y-intercept would be the opposite. So in the x spot, we'd have a 0, and then in the y spot, we'd have some kind of number. So these could be any numbers, right? That's why we're just using variables. So maybe put a little thought bubble around that. So it just stands out. I'm going to make a little space here on the side. So hold my piece of paper. Those can be our steps. I'll slide up. We're going to do 2 examples together, and then we'll practice some more, okay? So let's just call this example A. And we'll just start with a standard form equation, right? So we could start with 6x plus 3y makes 24, okay? And so step 1, if you want to identify the intercepts, we don't know them right now. We just have 3 numbers, or so, yeah, 3 numbers, and we have 2 variables, right? And so step 1 is going to be to find the x-intercept. And so I'll try to write better next time when I spell the word intercept, but x-intercept just spelled like intercept here, right? So step 1 is find the x-intercept. And what that means is we need to zero out the y. There we go. So when we find an x-intercept, right, it means that y is 0. So what does that look like? Well, step 1, right? I'm going to take my finger and cover up the y. So I want to make it go away, right? It's nothing. Another way to think about it is if 0 replaced that y and we did 3 times 0, well, what's 3 times 0? It's nothing. So now we cover it up. So I'm just going to rewrite the equation now. 6x equals 24. Because I'm zeroing out the y, I'm making it go away. This is a one-step equation, so 6th grade math. We're going to divide by 6, right, to make that cancel out. We're going to say x equals 24 divided by 6, which is 4. And then you just need to know that another way to write it is right there. So x is 4, which means I can just say that the ordered pair is 4, 0. Okay, so x is 4, y is 0. Step 2, if we found the x-intercept, step 2 should be, right, find the y-intercept. I-N-T-E-R-C-E-P-T. Right, so if finding the x-intercept means you zero out the y, what do you think finding the y-intercept means? Yep, zero out the x, right? So x is 0, y-intercept. So take my finger, cover up the x, I'm going to write positive 3y equals 24. Then I want to make that y be by itself, so I need to divide by 3 on both sides, right? Anything I do to one side, I do to the other. 3y divided by 3 cancels out. Y equals 8. And so just think about what you could do to represent that as an ordered pair, right? So if this is our x and this is our y, we know the y is 8. We know the x is 0, okay? So step 3 would just be to graph, and we'll do that part later. So I'm just going to put graph on Desmos, because that's our new calculator, right? So we've done steps 1 and 2, and step 3 we'll save for later. I'm going to draw a space here to do example B. Okay, I'm going to slide up my paper. So for example B, let's do something that's a little funkier. 8x minus 4y makes negative 20. So just given this equation in standard form, I don't know the x or y intercept, so I need to find them, right? So step 1, find the x-intercept, which means we need to zero out the y, right? So zero this out. So I'm going to cover up the 4y and the negative there, or the subtract sign. I'm just going to write 8x equals negative 20. So step 1, 8x equals negative 20. Get x by itself, so I need to make the 8 go away. So the opposite of times 8 is divide by 8. Anything I do to one side, I do to the other. And I would just do this in the calculator. So negative 20 divided by 8. Remember, I'm old, so if I do that in my head, I get negative 2.5. Okay? Let's use our pattern from above. So if x is negative 2.5, the ordered pair would be, right, negative 2.5, 0. So that just goes in the x spot. All right. So step 2, can we find the y-intercept? So this is where it gets a little funkier, to use that word again. I'm going to zero out the x. So 8 times 0 is 0. It's gone. Negative 4y. So notice I'm keeping that subtract sign, and I'm just saying it as a negative. So subtract, negative, down all means the same thing. So negative 4y makes negative 20. I want to get y by itself, so that negative 4 needs to go away. Anything I do to one side, to keep it equal, I need to do to the other side. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 just leaves us with 1y. And then negative 20 divided by negative 4 would be positive 5, because those negatives cancel out. Okay? So we get y equals 5, and then the last step, ordered pair. We're going to write down 0, right? I zeroed out the x, and y is 5. Ta-da!